I was thinking about the current state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and wanted to give my thoughts on the way things are going and something that I'm going to keep my eye on, and I think some of you guys will as well. So, Captain America Brave New World was not critically well received, but it didn't flop the first week. It did relatively decent numbers compared to what the projections were. Now, I saw the movie and I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just a mid tier film. And actually, the more I thought about it, the more I kind of disliked it. Not in the sense of this is a terrible movie that has cringe scenes, like, for example, The Marvels or Thor 2. With this movie, it was more like, God, this was such a waste of time. You know, the movie genuinely felt like a waste of time, and it felt like it didn't really progress anything. Like, we got some follow up to the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier and to the events of the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie, but did it really progress the story forward? I don't think so. I don't think it really progressed the overall MCU forward. So the movie was made because of the fact that the Falcon and Winter Soldier show did good numbers. But you have to also remember that that was during the pandemic. That was, I believe, the second Marvel show after WandaVision during the pandemic. And people were watching stuff at home. And at that time, Marvel still had a lot of goodwill with its audience. I think what's going on now, I think, based on just looking at things, is that the comic book boom, the era where Marvel or even DC could put a movie out and it was guaranteed to be a success, I think that era is done. Now, when I say guaranteed to be a success, nothing is ever guaranteed. But there was a time where Marvel could make a few mistakes and slip up and they would be forgiven by the fan base. Specifically with phases 2 and 3. There was so much great stuff coming out for phase 3, like consistently one good movie after another, that even some of the movies that were a bit weaker still had followings. Now, I might be in the minority. In fact, I think I am in the minority, but I actually like all three Ant-Man movies. I have fun with them. I really do. But I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people did not like Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I know some did not like Quantumania. It was not very well received, but I still enjoyed them for what they were. But it seems like audiences now, either their tastes have changed or they're expecting something a bit better, maybe a bit more sophisticated, maybe just a bit more unique than what we've been getting. The reality is that a lot of these Marvel movies all have the same formula. And I'm glad that it seems, I can't say for sure, but it seems like the Fantastic Four film and the upcoming Thunderbolts film, both coming out later this year, it seems like they might actually be doing different things. It seems to have a different vibe. It seems to be breaking the Marvel formula, but it also has the Marvel humor, which I'm wondering if that's even a wise thing to keep. I feel like nowadays, because of all of the mistakes that Marvel made since, 2020, I feel like people now are a lot less into the universe. I think that there are too many unresolved plot threads, specifically those that were set up with mid and post credit scenes that never got a follow up. Like, for example, specifically the Eternals mid credit scene introducing Thanos' brother and stuff like that. Pip the Troll, all that never got a follow up. Same thing with the sword that was supposed to go into Blade. So there's all these mid and post credit scenes that just don't have follow ups. Even the Doctor Strange one. Granted, we might get an answer in Secret Wars or even Doomsday. That one's another one that doesn't have a follow up. So there's a lot of these open plot threads. And if you remember, during phase 1, 2, and 3, It wasn't a situation where the mid credit scene would be promoting or hyping up a movie that would come out in like 10 years. The mid credit scene usually hyped up the next movie or built to the next Avengers film. That's what the mid credit scenes were used for. Let's not forget the mid credit scene where they had the hammer in New Mexico that led to the Thor film. Like, they would do one step at a time, one step at a time to get us to the next story. And that's what made it fun. So it was almost like you're getting kind of like a little mini trailer or like a little teaser of what the next Marvel movie is going to be. And some of you know what it's going to be based on reading the internet, others don't, right? I feel like Marvel needs to get refocused. I think they're going to be in trouble because I don't think people, especially with the economy, are going out to see movies as much as they used to. And I think that Marvel had so much bad will from failures that I think people are maybe a bit, maybe they have a lower tolerance level, right? So I feel like I do think that any movie with the name Avengers in it will do well. I'm confident that Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars will at least hit a billion, maybe more, maybe 1.5, maybe even 2 billion like the Avengers Endgame film hit. But it's more so the movies in and around it. I think the next Spider-Man has a chance to hit a billion. Fantastic Four has to be an actual really good movie, I think, for it to hit a billion, and it looks fun. But besides that, a lot of the other Marvel projects are just not going to do well. Blade, I think that ship sailed. I think Doctor Strange 3 could do well, but probably not as well as it would have done if Multiverse of Madness was a better movie. Spider Man would do well. But these sort of, these, I guess you can say, I don't want to say lesser IPs, because that's not the right frame, but just these like mid card heroes, it's just not cutting it. Like, I don't know if they should even make a fifth Thor movie. And I like Thor. I like the majority of those films. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I'm not sure if Captain America getting another movie is a good idea, at least for right now. I think that they really have to knock it out of the park with the next two Avengers, because the next two Avengers, people are going to be having an eye on that. People are going to go see that. People are going to go see that without having seen some of the other movies, and maybe it'll inspire them to check them out. Or maybe they'll just read about it or look up the mid-credit scene on YouTube before going to go see Doomsday and Secret Wars. But Doomsday and Secret Wars, bringing back Robert Downey and the Russos, those decisions were made specifically because Marvel knew that they needed to do something, and that was one of those break glass for emergency type of situations. That's what happened there, is that was an emergency. And here we go. So I feel like Phase 7, which is the phase after the multiverse saga ends, is supposed to be the beginning of the mutant saga. So we're going to get like a rebooted X-Men, or like, new mutants appearing. And the MCU is supposed to be consolidated and rebooted into one universe. So you'll have Spider-Man characters, X-Men characters, and all the other Marvel characters under one banner, which is kind of what Kevin Feige would have liked to have done from day one. And that will be, for sure a reboot. But the problem is that reboot might not capture the audience. People might not want that. People might not like that. And the movies that come out during Phase 7 might not necessarily be what people are looking for. Because if they really are going to hit the reset button, are people going to be okay with, like, in a way, starting over? I know it's not really starting over, but, we're going to start over with a new Iron Man, a new Captain America. Obviously, it's just rumored. and just kind of start from scratch, I don't know. I don't know if that's even possible. You know, because you got to remember, Iron Man 1 in 2008 was an achievement. Iron Man 1 was a big movie and a beloved movie. And to this day, it still holds up. And I feel like starting over again, if they reboot whatever they do, it's going to be in the shadow of those old films. Now, obviously, you could go in a different direction. Like, for example, Matt Reeves is the Batman. People thought that Christopher Nolan was the only guy that could do a grounded, realistic Batman story. And then here comes Matt Reeves with an even more grounded and even more realistic Batman story, at least with that first film. So it can be done. It's just if they do a reboot of these classic heroes, the movies themselves have to be well done, well written, well scripted. All this crap going on where they're reshooting stuff and changing their minds, like, it feels so disorganized. It's not quite where Star Wars is at right now, where the brand is in actual pain. It's not there, but it is feeling like it could be headed in that direction. And I don't think Kevin Feige is going to allow that to happen, but it's still a situation where, like, they need to, these like mid-tier movies like The Last Captain America, The Brave New World, where it's just an okay movie and they don't really put that much thought into it, that's not going to fly anymore. I just don't think it's going to fly. I think people are going to reject those films. I think that with the economy and with the way things are, people are trying to be smarter with their money. They're not going to go to the movie theaters, 3 times a year to see Marvel movies unless they are worth going to go see. And you have to make it worth their while. So I'm a bit, I don't want to say skeptical because that's not the right word, but I'm a bit apprehensive about what they're going to do. Part of me kind of wants Marvel to take a break. And I mean, like, take a year off without nothing new, maybe even 2 years. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't suspect they're going to do that because they've got shareholders and they've got reasons to make films and they've got a whole slate of stuff they want to do. But, we talked in the past about, is this comic book movie bubble going to burst? And I think, I know that people don't want to accept that. Like, a lot of the comic book fans want more and they're not going to accept that. But it's true. Like, the casual audience is going to, or maybe already is, somewhat burnt out on these types of movies. That might be it. There might be too much Marvel for us. Maybe too much. I mean, look at this. I watched everything Phase 2 and Phase 3 in theaters, right? Now, here we are in Phase 5 now, right? I still haven't seen Echo. Don't care to. I still haven't seen Moon Knight. Heard good things about it, but it's not on my list of things to do. I am actually rewatching Daredevil. Hopefully, got to get season 2 this week and see if I can get that done. So, even somebody like me who has the liberty of having a YouTube channel to talk about this stuff, I still, to this day, just, am a bit picky. I haven't seen What If seasons 2 or 3. I just don't care because I got burnt out. And you have to understand, and many of you remember, when Marvel was dropping these Disney Plus shows, I was staying up till 3 in the morning every time. I stayed up to watch Secret Invasion. I stayed up to watch What If Season 1. I stayed up to watch most of Hawkeye, although not all of it. I really was invested, and now I just wait till the morning. The only show I stay up for now was Cobra Kai, and that show's over. So let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear from you. because I want to get a lot of diverse opinions on this and see if, maybe I'm off my rocker, or if you guys are also feeling it too. Like, if you also feel like these, like, they need to stop with these, like they can't just keep delivering. It's not about bad movies. They can't just keep doing like mid-tier, mediocre movies. They got to start delivering some greatness. We got to start getting those feelings back where we get excited to go see Marvel. Nowadays, I got people asking me, should I waste my time? Like, or is it a waste of time? Or, it used to be a thing where we'd all get our friends together and go. People would make time for these movies. People don't anymore. Same thing happened to Star Wars. People would make time. Even during the Disney era. I was there day one for The Force Awakens. I was there day one for Rogue One. I was still in. I was there day one for Last Jedi. Like, I was still in. And now, I mean, if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie's out, I'll probably be there day one as well. But some of these other projects just don't matter to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Get the discussion going down there. See you soon.